What is the definition of a beard cult? A beard cult. A culture? Well, a cult of beards. Am I a hypocrite for having a beard and criticizing beard cults? That's the cult as in a culture, a beard cult. Is Jesus Christ and Christianity a beard cult? And is it Islam and Muhammad, is it a beard cult because Jesus was a Caucasian with a beard and Muhammad was a Caucasian with a beard? No, that's not the definition of a beard cult. It's a beard cult because it is with a specific narrative that God spoke to Caucasians, bearded men, first, before Chinese without a beard and before black Africans without a beard. It's because of the Jewish mythology, which is kind of like Greek mythology or Norse mythology with Odin and Thor. It's archaic and it's not scientific. It's a beard cult because the Jewish mythology says God spoke first to the Hebrews with a beard, Caucasians with a beard. It's not a beard cult because Jesus had a beard. It's not a beard cult because Muhammad had a beard. It's a beard cult because the Torah says God spoke first to the lineage of Abraham and Moses, Caucasians with beards, before Chinese or Africans, and then God expected Caucasian evangelists or Caucasian missionaries to go and inform the Chinese and the black Africans that God spoke to those who had a beard. And here's what God said to us. That's what makes it a beard cult, not the fact that Jesus had a beard and Muhammad had a beard. It's because the Jewish Torah says God spoke first to Abraham and God spoke first to Moses, and they're descended from Adam. And obviously, if they're descended from Adam, then Adam also had a beard, and God spoke first to bearded Caucasians. That's what makes Judaism a beard cult. And it's not the beard of Muhammad and it's not the beard of Jesus that makes it a beard cult. It's the fact that Christianity and Islam are a vehicle for the beard cult of Judaism and the Torah, the beards of Abraham and Moses and Adam, because they say Abraham and Moses and Abraham were descended from Adam and Eve, and then they have a whole lineage that they describe all of the generations that led to Abraham, that led to Moses and Abraham, and that's why it's a beard cult, because of the Torah, not because of the beard of Jesus, not because of the beard of Muhammad, not because Caucasians have a beard. It's because Caucasians said God spoke to us first, and now we arrive with our beards to tell you that God spoke to us before, and he told us to tell you that he spoke to us, and here's what he said. That's why it's a beard cult religion. Judaism is a beard cult religion. And it's not... Okay, now the question of whether it's good for men to be bald on top and have a beard on the chin and a mustache, whether that's good, it's a choice we make. A choice we made to evolve in that direction, to have a beard. It's a competitive advantage among men, but is it really better than, and it's not a competitive advantage to go bald, but it signifies masculinity, but that's not better than having hair on your head. It's not better to have more divergence in the expression of masculine versus male versus female, more divergence in the expression of masculinity of one species. It's not better. It's a choice we've made, but it's not better. So, are we making an irresponsible choice to promote beards and baldness? And would it be an improvement if we had more of the, unfortunately, only black hair genetics have the less baldness, and the blonde hair genetics and the light-haired and light eye color are usually seen with baldness and a beard. It's not better, but it's, well, some people say it's a question of taste or preference, and aesthetic preference is a better thing to say than instead of taste. It's a question of aesthetic preferences, but it's not better to have a beard rather than to have no beard. It's a competitive advantage to conceal a small chin that doesn't look as good as a good chin, a big jaw. It doesn't look as good. It doesn't look better. But it's a competitive advantage to be able to conceal it, because when a Chinese man who's racially pure Chinese has a chin that's small like mine, he can't grow much beard to conceal it. So it's a competitive advantage, but is it better? It's not better. And it's not better to go bald. That's not a competitive advantage to go bald. I don't think it is. Well, maybe showing off a big brain, maybe that's an advantage, showing off a big brain. So there's no concealing a undersized brain under a lot of hair. And some people say the hairline should go, and it looks more attractive if the hairline goes here instead of up here. The hairline up here doesn't look as good. But the hairline down here looks better, but if you have all this concealed under hair, they can't see that you have a large brain. So maybe that's a competitive advantage to show a large brain. Anyway, but it's uglier to have no hair on your head. So anyway, the point being, it's not better to have a beard, to be able to grow a beard. It's not better, but arguably it's worse because of the more divergence in the male versus the female. The male looks more different than the female, and I think it's better if the male and the female look more similar than to have the female has no beard and the male has baldness and a beard, and the female has no baldness and the female has no beard. Well, that's a lot of divergence, and so you can compare it to an orangutan has these weird ridges on the side of their face. The males have these weird ridges that are ugly, and that's an example of divergence between gender. Maybe you could say this video is already getting bad. It started good, but it's getting bad. Maybe it's described as dimorphism between the genders. That's just pointless to use Latin. It's the males have an ugly feature that the females don't have, and it makes orangutans look worse when the males have these ugly ridges on the sides of their heads. Luckily, we don't look that bad. We don't look as bad as orangutans with those ugly ridges on the sides of their faces. I think it's arguable that the Caucasian races should breed for less beard instead of more beard. If we can make the case that we should have an aesthetic preference for growing no beard on our faces and gradually evolve toward that aesthetic preference to be conforming to the same aesthetic preferences that the Chinese and the Africans have, no beard instead of having a beard, or almost no beard. That's an argument that can be made, but it's not a crisis. Having a beard is not a crisis. Having the genetics to grow a big beard is not a crisis, but I don't think it's something that we should say every man should have a big beard. Every man should have a big beard on his face and a big mustache, and I think that's unnecessary. That's an opinion, and one thing that the mustache can conceal is the hair lip. Mustache can conceal that, so it's not necessarily. I think it's not better, but the question of whether we should try to evolve to having gradually over the thousands and millions of years that humanity presumably has ahead of us living together on earth, that we should prefer to have no beard instead of a beard. Well, that's another opinion, but it's not a crisis. It's not a terrible disfiguring feature to have a beard, but it's not better. Anyway, so I was accused of being maybe they accused me of being anti-Caucasian because of my talk about the beard cult genetics. I'm not talking about the beard of Muhammad. I'm not talking about the beard of Jesus Christ. I'm talking about the narrative of the Jewish Torah that says God spoke first to Caucasians with a beard, and then we bring our beards to China and Africa to inform you God spoke to us and here's what he said. That's beard cult religion. That's Judaism. It's not the beard of Jesus, and it's not the beard of Muhammad that makes it so. And it's not the beard that I grow that makes it so, and it's not the beard that other Caucasian men can grow. It's not a crisis. It's not a disaster. It's not a horrible thing like the ridges on the side of an orangutan's face. It's not that bad, but it's not better. And you can make the case. You can make the argument that we should evolve toward having no beard. The males of the Caucasians we should hypothetically grow no beard. I like light eye color. I like light hair color because it's a sign of being part of the race of having the biggest, I think, the biggest brain volume. But I don't like baldness, and I don't think the beard is better. Anyway, that's all for now.